On the week of March 23rd, individuals were found to be touring the property with who appears to be Gary, who is a former president of Indiana Beach. As you can see from these photos, also photos were taken of different rides and other attractions being turned on, and it appeared that those individuals were looking at water slides and other various rides throughout the park. That seemed to be very good news for fans of Indiana Beach. Flashback to March 11th when a perpetual license was filed by Indiana Beach Holdings LLC and approved by the state of Indiana. Notice the address and notice the names involved in this. This would set up a meeting a week afterwards on March 17th with the White County Commissioners meeting that was held to decide if they were going to approve an incentive package to try to get a prospective buyer to Indiana Beach. They approved that they would invest $3 million. 2 weeks later, on March 31st, they decided that they were going to grab that money from a wind farm fund in the amount of $3 million. That $3 million would be used to find a prospective buyer. There would have to be an agreed upon deal before the White County Commissioner's Office would meet again. Now, while this is good news for Indiana Beach fans, also there's some bad news. In the month of March, COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic caused a lot of social distancing guidelines to be put in place, closing a lot of non-essential businesses. This was extended by President Trump on March 29th to include all the way to April 30th. That did not include the executive order that would be issued by Governor Holcomb that would extend social distancing and the guidelines for non-essential business all the way till May 1st. We do have some good news released by the state health department in the state of Indiana showing that we could hit the peak earlier on April 17th. Now, while that seems like good news, the thing is we don't know how long that peak is going to stay for and how long it's going to take for it to plateau out, which means how long it's going to take for it to flatten and for it to start going down. Now, these restrictions are put into place till May 1st, but these restrictions can also be extended out for a further period of time. Now, we do have some good news related to the possible sale of Indiana Beach. We know from the March 31st meeting with the White County Commissioners Board that it was discussed that they might possibly have a deal within the next couple weeks. That would push the deal possibly at the earliest to next week. Now, that does sound like good news, right? Which it is good news. But here's the thing. Once that deal is reached, then they go back to the White County Board. The White County Board looks at the deal and decides if the deal is best for the White County Commissioners Board and if they're going to approve the $3 million incentive for Indiana Beach. And then you have to look at the whole outline of the deal. The White County Board is going to have certain things that company is going to have to meet in order to be able to keep the $3 million incentive. And that could include having to invest so much, having to do so many things, having to own the park for a certain amount of time, not being able to do certain things to certain areas of the park. So there's a lot of provisions that could be included in order for this company to get this incentive package. And here's some other things that we do know. So we do know the Hoosier Hurricane is in dire need of repair and retracking. As you can see from these overhead photos that are coming up on this video, you'll see of how bad the wood is in shape. Now, we have heard rumors that whatever company comes in, there is rumors that that company will hire somebody to retract the Hoosier Hurricane, which is great news on the Hoosier Hurricane's part. We do know that 2 rides have been removed. That includes the merry-go-round that was located over by the south entrance and the Growler ride as well. Those are the only 2 rides that we know of that have been removed. Now, obviously the arcade games have been removed in the park, but those were leased anyway, so those could always be replaced at a later time, besides obviously the classical rides And we know a couple other old-fashioned rides have been removed as well. And then you get into the upgrades. So now this company has to go in there. They have already inspected the park. Now they need to do updates. And then if at the very earliest, obviously the state of Indiana opens back up on May 1st. But that's if the deal's even completed by then. And then you have to look at a couple other things. Then they have to get their staffing in place, hire people, train those people. They have to come up with guidelines because of this COVID-19 pandemic on cleaning standards, because their cleaning standards are going to have to change. They're going to have to look at social distancing standards related to this virus. And then they're going to have to look at another variety of factors as well. When the correct date is going to be to open this. A lot of projections throughout the Midwest are looking at mid to end of June for most parks. So that's probably what this park at the earliest would be able to open if the deal takes place towards the end of April into the beginning of May, and they go full board and full speed at this. Now, if they don't reach the deal until later, or if this social distancing extends, then we're looking at this park not opening back up till July. That's if they could get all the work done that they need to get done. What I think is going to happen is if this deal doesn't take place soon enough, or if they plan on doing a bunch of work to the park related to this, and also because of the social distancing standards, I think the new owners could possibly keep the park closed for the 2020 season. I know this is like the worst case scenario, but when you're looking at different standards and procedures having to take place and all this having to be put in place before they could even open up, and if they're not going to open up until almost July, the park usually runs from mid-May to Labor Day weekend, and then, it was operating on seasonal weekends all the way until the end of October. But a lot of the revenue comes from the summer at Indiana Beach. So if they're not giving that revenue and they're not able to open until a later date, they would be better off just holding off opening the park until the next season, because the crowds might not come back right away. So you have the risk of losing money by opening the park earlier than you need to. And also, when the crowds do come back, how long are they going to take before you see the normal crowd levels again? So there's a lot of considerations when you have to look at it in this. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but these are the things that we need to look at when looking to see if Indiana Beach is even going to open for the 2020 season. I do think there is a prospective buyer, and I do think Indiana gets purchased. But we have to look at all these different scenarios and all these possibilities. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot of information out of it. And I want to thank you again for watching this video. From Midwest Coaster fans, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, this is Chris signing off for Midwest Coaster fans. Thanks again for watching.